Imagine being one of the most talented players to ever step foot on an NBA court, blessed with size, skill, and a natural feel for the game. Now imagine watching that talent slowly erode, not from lack of effort or passion, but from something entirely out of your control: injuries. This is the story of Tracy McGrady, T-Mac, a man once destined to be a legend, a player whose highlights made jaws drop and whose scoring titles solidified his dominance. Yet despite the awe, the accolades, and the endless potential, there was always one question trailing him like a shadow. What if? What if he stayed healthy? What if he had the right teammates? What if he had the work ethic of Kobe Bryant? Today, we're diving deep into the meteoric rise and tragic fall of Tracy McGrady's NBA career. Not to mourn what could have been, but to celebrate what was, and to honestly examine why the path to greatnesses was so painfully interrupted. Humble beginnings in baseball dreams, born on May 24, 1979, in the small town of Auburndale, Florida, Tracy McGrady didn't have basketball dreams out the gate. In fact, it was baseball that first stole his heart. As a standout pitcher and outfielder, he had genuine major league potential. But fate had other plans. Raised by his mother and grandmother, McGrady's work ethic was forged in struggle. With little contact from his father, the values of resilience and perseverance were instilled by two powerful women. When he transferred to Mount Zion Christian Academy in North Carolina for his senior year, that changed at the Adidas ABCD camp. Facing off against the nation's top high school prospects, McGrady exploded onto the scene. NBA scouts took immediate notice. College could wait. The kid was NBA ready. In 1997, the Toronto Raptors took a gamble, selecting McGrady 9th overall. He was just 18, still a teenager, living alone in a foreign country, and battling harsh winters. His rookie season was, in his own words, hell. He averaged just 13 minutes a game and spent most of his time isolated, sometimes sleeping 20 hours a day. But his time was coming. Cousin Vince, an escape to stardom. The arrival of Vince Carter, McGrady's cousin, in 1998 changed everything. The two formed one of the most electrifying young duos in NBA history. Their alley-oops, fast breaks, and raw athleticism turned Toronto into must-watch TV. But while their chemistry was undeniable, McGrady didn't want to play second fiddle. He knew he was capable of more. In 2000, he chose to walk away from Vince and chase the spotlight on his own. He signed with the Orlando Magic, returning to his home state. There he planned to create a super duo with another star, Grant Hill. Only Grant Hill never stayed healthy. So McGrady did what true stars do. He carried the load. In his first year with Orlando, McGrady averaged 26.8 points per game, earned his first All-Star selection, and won the NBA's Most Improved Player award. He was only getting started. By 2002-03, he averaged 32.1 points per game, secured the scoring title, and finished fourth in MVP voting. Tracy McGrady had officially arrived. But greatness in the regular season is one thing. Greatness in the playoffs is another beast entirely. T-Mac's legacy, a symphony of what-ifs and lasting greatness. Tracy McGrady's career is a symphony of what-ifs. What if he had Kobe's work ethic, a healthy Grant Hill, or never needed knee surgery? Yet despite the injuries, short prime, and missed playoff success, T-Mac left a legacy few could touch. A 7-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champ, and Hall of Famer, he mesmerized fans with effortless brilliance. He's been honest about his flaws and regrets, but his impact goes beyond trophies. McGrady's story is about raw talent, human vulnerability, and unforgettable moments. Greatness isn't always crowned with rings. Sometimes it's remembered in the way a player made you feel. The body breaks down. Injuries, the villain of every promising career. And for McGrady, they were relentless. Back spasms, chronic knee problems, shoulder pain. He never caught a break. By 2009, he underwent microfracture surgery, a brutal procedure known to derail careers. For McGrady, it was the beginning of the end. He never played a full season, not once. By his 13th year, he had racked up over 28,000 regular season minutes. That's a heavy load for a 31-year-old, especially one who came straight from high school. And then came the downward spiral. Short stints with New York, Detroit, Atlanta. Glimpses of the old T-Mac surfaced, but never consistently. In 2012, he went overseas to China, where he regained some glory and fan adoration. But he wanted one last shot in the NBA. That came in 2013 with the San Antonio Spurs. The catch? He barely played, but he finally reached the NBA Finals. Sadly, the Spurs lost in 7 to LeBron's Miami Heat. He never scored a single point in that playoff run, and just like that, it was over. The flame that once lit arenas across the league quietly flickered out. The 13 points in 35 seconds, a glimpse of his greatness. There are moments in basketball that feel more like magic than sport. And for Tracy McGrady, that moment came on December 9, 2004. The Houston Rockets were trailing the San Antonio Spurs by 8 points with just 35 seconds left. It was game over, or so everyone's thought. What happened next was pure legend. T-Mac scored 13 points in 35 seconds, 4 three-pointers, 1 a 4-point play, a steal, and a game-winning pull-up triple over Bruce Bowen and Tim Duncan. The Toyota Center erupted. Even die-hard Spurs fans shook their heads in awe. That moment wasn't just about a miracle comeback. It was a snapshot of McGrady's genius. The purest reminder of what could have been had his body held up. It showed the world that no matter how much pain he was in, no matter how broken he felt, his talent never left him. China, where T-Mac was still a superstar. When McGrady left the NBA for China in 2012, some saw it as a quiet exit. But for fans overseas, it was just the beginning. In China, Tracy McGrady was worshipped. Stadiums were packed. Fans waited outside hotels, crying just to catch a glimpse. It was like Kobe or Jordan had arrived. Playing for the Qingdao Eagles, McGrady averaged 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. And while it wasn't NBA competition, it didn't matter. He found love again, not just from fans, but for the game itself. China gave McGrady something the NBA hadn't in his final years: joy, freedom, and the feeling of being whole. He may not have won rings, but overseas he was still royalty. A reminder that greatness doesn't always need validation from trophies. The work ethic debate: gifted or guilty? As the years passed, one question stuck to McGrady like a shadow. Did he waste his talent? Kobe Bryant, known for waking up at 4 a.m. to train, often stood as the gold standard of NBA work ethic. McGrady, on the other hand, admitted in an interview, "I just wasn't a great practice player. I could cruise and still be effective." For some, that was honesty. For others, it was heartbreaking. Could more effort have saved his knees? Could better conditioning have prolonged his prime? T-Mac had God-given talent, but did he rely too much on it? That question haunts discussions about his legacy. He was never lazy, but in a league where 1% effort separates legends from GOATs, sometimes effort is everything. We'll never know if work could have beat his injuries, but we do know this: his ceiling was higher than most of his peers, including some champions. Legacy beyond rings. What makes a legend? In 2017, Tracy McGrady was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. A moment of triumph for a man whose career often felt unfinished. There were critics, of course. He never got past the first round, they said. He didn't win MVPs. He wasn't clutch. But here's the thing. Basketball isn't just about rings. It's about impact. McGrady was a cultural icon. He inspired a generation of tall kids who wanted to handle the ball like guards. He made inefficiency look beautiful. He was art in motion. Ask his peers, Kobe, LeBron, Pierce, they'll tell you the truth. T-Mac was a problem, a nightmare, one of the most gifted players to ever lace them up. His legacy isn't built on banners, it's built on memories. The kind that make your jaw drop, the kind you never forget. What do you think about T-Mac's legacy? Was he an all-time great unfairly forgotten, or a superstar who never fully lived up to the hype? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive, show some love. Hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss our next breakdown.